Okay, quick turnaround, obviously. Just felt like we were speaking to each other yesterday, and thankful to be home and safe. We had delay out of Philadelphia Airport, so our guys are sleeping in. I think an underrated thing about what we do for a living, especially in conference play, is so much of it is dictated by the TV schedule, and we're thankful for the last 2 games being on the main ESPN channels. But that created some hard travel for us, the 9 p.m. game, then the noon game, and then instead of playing Thursday this week, we're playing Wednesday. And with the delay, I would say right now our main thing is to manage our legs. I was incredibly proud of yesterday. We did not shoot the 3 well on tired legs, but we were fresh enough to play pretty elite defense, and the defense held on to the game for us until in the second half we started to pass an offensive rebound. We're looking forward to growing on that strength. Seems like the toughest team continues to win, and our guys are stepping up to that call. But Tulane this week and then at USF, there's no rest. We just need to keep going. We'll put the past in the past, and today we're going to start focusing on Tulane. I know Coach DeMond will do a great job with that at Scout. And then our main thing is that we peak on Wednesday night. So any questions you have?
Hey, Coach. So FAU showing quite impressive form, 5-1 to start conference play, sitting at first place in the conference standings for league play. What are your thoughts on how successful about this start that this team is going on to start conference play and just persevering through the challenges to start?
Yeah, it's a balance as a coach because you're constantly trying to fight for better. You told me before Thanksgiving that we'd be 5-1. Our net differential, I think, is 11 points a game. I thought last week we were 12 points a game difference between the opponent and us. Our defense has been elite. A quietly underwritten thing about last week is we had 5 guys in double figures. So as we're playing, more people are getting involved. I think our bench points continue to be a separator for us. You look at Josiah and Maxime yesterday, we don't win games without that. Whether Nico scores or not, I think we have one of the better benches in the league. And so as you watch our starters grow and our bench match it, there's a lot to be thankful for. There's 2 rounds to this thing. You got to look up after 9 games and see where you're at. And then in February, we actually get some bye weeks, and we got to use that to get better and get healthy. And then that last 9 will really matter for us. But as far as the first 6 go, more good than bad for sure. I think my mindset is on growth right now. I think we can get better, and that's probably the main focus. But certainly 5-1 is better than 1-5.
I do want to take a look at Devin Williams, who is almost averaging 4 blocks in the last 4 games. He has 15 total in those last 4 games. I think the unique thing about Devin is that whenever he blocks shots, it's not blocks that go out of play and you have to inbound the ball. They're blocks that continue the play and allow you guys to go on the fast break quickly and continue the fast tempo that you guys want to go on. What are your thoughts on how Devin has been able to provide that aspect of your guys' tendencies on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, little things like that matter. I thought he was spiking the ball out of bounds a little bit a couple weeks ago, and now it seems like his blocks are leading to transition points. The flow of the game yesterday was really ugly, and he didn't get the freedom to really be himself. Foul trouble kept him on the bench. But when he is in games and he had 10 block shots, it's really helped us. We're number 1 in the league in possessions. We're playing faster than anybody else. And really the ability to score off stops has increased this year. But one of the cleanest way to score off stops is steals and blocks. Our blocks are right where they need to be. Devin's put us in a great spot, and Xander and Maxime are growing in that area. I thought one of the key plays yesterday was Devin Vanderpool's steal on the baseline out of bounds that ends up with 3 2-points. So live ball turnovers and live ball blocks really matter. It's one thing to play great D. It's even better when that D flips into easy offense. So those pick 6 moments and those block shot moments are pretty special, and we're thankful for Devin Williams' growth there.
And it's clear that Josiah and Maxime are getting a lot more comfortable in the second unit off the bench, with Josiah making the strides in the post game, like attacking the paint whenever he can, and then Maxime just continuing to be a lob threat. What are your thoughts on how those guys have been able to make strides in their games throughout the start of conference play so far?
Maxime didn't play a lot last year at Oregon State. Josiah obviously coming in as a freshman. You hope they both become sophomores by January, and I think you can see that being true. Sometimes you become sophomores your sophomore year, but if you can speed that up by just one semester, especially for a team with a lack of experience like ours, it's incredibly meaningful. And, it's a risk for us to have our bench be, I guess, filled with freshmen and Nico and young guys that have had to grow in order for us to be successful. But when you see that risk pay off, you compliment the guys, but I also think it's really wise to compliment our assistants. I mean, the player development that's going on with these guys is really remarkable. We proved that last year. Our 4 leading scorers all took massive leaps prior to their earlier location, and I think we're proving that again this year. Our assistants do a great job of player development, and you can take those risks in this new day and age of NIL and balance your budgets and decisions based around the fact that we believe we can help players get better. So player development will always be a staple of what we do. We're hoping retention will be an additional staple, but I think their growth, I just want to thank the assistants for all the work that they do.
Going into the Tulane matchup on Wednesday night, Tulane, they did suffer a dip in form, losing back-to-back games at home to UAB in North Texas. What have you seen from the Green Wave in their last few games that you want the team to be careful about going into the LA on Wednesday night?
Well, one, they beat us, so they clearly have a formula. Right. 2, the guards against us were pretty special. Asher and Rowan had a combined 36 points. And then 3, you're just not going to beat that zone if you turn it over as much as we did. So not turning over is really going to matter. There's this thing that people don't really track. They do it in the NBA, back-to-backs, schedules, days off. It affects the game more than people realize. I mean, you look at UNT, they had their bye week. So they were right. Coming in fresh and hungry. And then you look at Tulane, they didn't have a bye. They had played that week and had flown to Tulsa the week prior. And so when you hit things really matters. I think both of our teams will be tired from where they're at right now. So being fresh and peaking will matter. But as hungry as we are, they're going to be just as hungry coming off 2 losses. And so the mindset that we need to have to not dip and think this is going to be easy is incredibly important. All Tulane has proven since I've been here is that they can beat us. So I just imagine that our guys need to understand we got to be up for this one.
And obviously, besides Asher and Rowan, Curtis Williams Jr. stands out as a key threat from the perimeter with a 35% accuracy. What's going to be the game plan to keep him off the perimeter and just force him to take difficult shots that don't involve the 3-ball?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we got to run him off the line. So we label different people different ways in our scouts. He's going to be somebody that anytime he takes a 2, we feel like we're winning. His shooting really helps our spacing. Because you have to stay home on him, it allows Rowan to get driving lanes. You can't be in Rowan's gaps. If you're not in his gaps and you don't keep him out of the paint, by the time he gets to the rim, he shoots as many free throws as anybody in the country. It all links. And so Williams really makes Asher and Rowan even better because you've got to honor him from 3, and then the drives and free throws down the stretch end up mattering. So we'll be honest and at home with Curtis, but we're going to have to do a better job of somehow being in his gap and then leaving early. But they make you do both. You're going to have to guard Rowan's gap and then be out to the shooters at the same time. And I thought we were okay at that. Our defense was better than our offense at that place. We played a good enough defense to win that game. Our turnovers did not allow us to play good enough offense to separate.
And early sneak peek for USF. Obviously, you guys went 2-0 against them last year at home and on the road. What have you seen from them about this year's team that is different from the year prior that you want the team to be aware of going into that matchup on the road on Sunday?
Yeah, I would say it's not anything similar at all. It's different coaches. USF obviously went through a tragedy last year. I think this group has more consistency than people realize. They tied for first place with 4 teams when Coach Hodgson was at Arkansas State, and he brought his best players with him. So in an era of retention, USF has significantly more retention than people think. They're just all in a different uniform, but they're still together for a second year. And when you're together for a second year and you play a system where any 3 at any time is a good shot and they play second fastest in the league besides us. It's going to be a completely different game. One thing I respect about their coach is he's going to punch, and then he's going to punch again, and he's going to punch again, and if he can get to 100, he's going to do it. So it will shock us because everybody's trying to make sure we can't run, and I actually think they're courageous enough to run. So we'll deal with that on Thursday and Friday, but compliments to them for their first season in the league. Clearly, they know what they're doing when it comes to the ability to put points on the board. And, you know, at USF is going to be a big deal, but we can't really do anything until we just deal with the Tulane game.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Coach, didn't shoot the three well yesterday, but did other things to win the game. Like I mentioned, play defense, but the points in paint were significant.
Yeah.
Is that, in your mind, the mark of a maturing team, that they find other ways to win when a staple of your game doesn't go well?
Yeah, 50 to 32 paint points for us is a pretty big deal. When you're getting 50 points in the paint, I thought we probably should have shot a few more free throws. We made just enough down the stretch to have some separation and close the game out. But the things that help you in the margins, like we had, I think, 3 assists in the first half, which is unacceptable, and 7 in the second. We had 1 offensive rebound. We had 9 in the second. We lost our 50-50 balls in the first half. They were quicker too, and we won some in the second half. Winning teams do those things, and then when they have a day where you make threes on top of it, there's more separation. But to go on the road, we basically didn't practice because we had to rest after the late game versus Wichita. We had a 7:30 a.m. practice on Saturday, and then we barely got some shots up at Temple, and then we got to the gym early. So it's a gritty win, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And in 2 weeks, we're going to look back and say, the only thing people remember is that we won. And sometimes painful and gritty really causes growth. And if you can grow while winning instead of grow from losing, I think we'll do that. We grew significantly. Our character after the Tulane loss was special. I think we need to treat yesterday in the same way. As though we lost, we didn't play our best game, and our character needs to be special. We've got to be better on Wednesday.
You mentioned Tulane, and I watched some of their game yesterday. They talked about the matchup zone. Is that a little bit unique in our league, and what does it do to cause problems?
Yeah, I think we actually pushed them away from their matchup zone some, and they did it last night where they lift their 5-man to the ball screen covers. They switch 1 through 5. They hide some matchup things. Sometimes it's in their form of their main zone, and other times they're morphing it if you figure something out. So we're going to have to be better against the second and third option. I thought we were decent against the first option. But an odd noon game on the road in New Orleans, and we didn't shoot particularly well that day, and then the turnovers were too much. So if we can get a clean 7 o'clock game where we make some shots and the turnovers go away, I think the plan is there. It's just never been executed well enough. And so we're going to have to probably adjust what we do when they go to switching, but the rest of the time, I think DeMond will have us ready. At the end of the day, most of these league games are going to come down to 10 points or less, 5 points or less. So how we handle the last 5 minutes, which we have gotten significantly better than since our failure at Tulane.
You mentioned that earlier, the lack of experience, even though some of these guys don't have enough recruits, but they haven't played a lot of games.
Yeah.
Given that, are you seeing maturity and growth in these guys that you either expected or maybe you didn't expect?
Yeah, some of them I didn't expect, some of them you hope, and then some of them you can see it coming. It's really important to be a winning basketball player if you don't score. And games like yesterday, our 3 leading scorers didn't score easily. Now, they had some key baskets at key times. Devin's 3 and Xander's 3, they couldn't have been more timely. Kanan comes in, and I thought the last 8 minutes after some frustration and fouling, he made some big reads at the right time. Nico is completely showing the world that you can be a winning player without having to score. As that becomes contagious through the locker room, and Devin Williams impacts the game without needing a touch because he just cares and plays defense so hard. Now all of a sudden, your identity you can bring anywhere. That we're tough and we care about the things that win games. And then when you score on top of it, you have those special days like we did against Wichita. But when we can't find those special days, at least we can grind some games out. And that is 100% about the player's maturity. And coaches get way too much credit and way too much blame. as the players mature, they're the ones that do the most, and they've been really good for us. I told them I'm thankful for them last week. I mean, you don't always get to coach the first place team as a head coach, and they've given our staff that gift, and so I'm really happy with their maturity.
Last one, you mentioned maturity. I think after Maxine picking up his third foul, Devin Williams got up off the bench and talked to him and just tried to settle him because he was clearly frustrated. Mm-hmm. Just tried to settle him down. Is that one of the things you look at, that's maturity of players are taking ownership of culture? Yeah,
our bench growth can still be better. I don't know that people realize how much time we spend just watching bench on film. In person, because of the lack of flow in the game and the way our guys responded to it, our huddles weren't tight enough, our body language wasn't good enough. I'm completely fine with complimenting guys when it's time, but we didn't exceed at Temple in that area, and we have had some really special moments in that. And they're going to need to be reminded of how much body language matters and how reactions really can dictate so much. And one of the people in the second half, to his credit, that even though he couldn't play because of foul trouble, didn't stop cheering for his teammates was Dev. And we'll highlight when the guys did it right, but we're going to need to grow in that area and not get bored of really reminding ourselves that it matters.